sharing with us your thoughts. You know, I want to follow back up on an amendment that passed in the FAA bill that preempted my state, California's, labor protections for truck drivers that were engaged in interstate commerce. You know, so I come from Washington after serving in the California legislature, and sometimes I feel that we spend more time here talking about California's labor laws than we did actually in California talking about California. But proponents, I heard that, Congressman Lowenthal, proponents of the amendment claim that no intrastate drivers, those transporting a load entirely within California, will be affected by this preemption. That's what they said. But I'm not sure I really believe this. In my district, which I represent the Port of Long Beach, everyday truckers transport goods from our ports to inland distribution centers. That goes on all the time. These trips take place entirely within California, but the cargo is from overseas trade bound for destinations across the country. So my question is, under the FMCSA's definitions, are these drayage trips considered interstate commerce, subject to a federal preemption, or not?
Congressman, it's an interesting question, and I guess following the logic, I would still say that because it's completely intrastate, that it is not subject to that. However, it is a legal question, and it's one that I would have to.
Could you get back to me on that?
Through the chair, I'd be happy to do that. That is really a critical,
you know, because those goods are going across state lines ultimately and coming from foreign.
I will get back to you through the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question I have is that a year ago, Ranking Member DeFazio and I both asked Deputy Administrator Jefferson about reported labor abuses in the drayage industry at the ports of Long Beach and LA. In response to our questions, FMCSA replied that since the coercion rule went into effect in 2016, only one carrier has been fined for a violation of the rules. One violation out of over 600 complaints. Administrator Martinez, can you update the committee on the effects of this rule? Have more investigations been completed or more violations found in the past year?
Yes, and it's an area that needs continued work because as I see, our latest statistics indicate that we have received almost 550 coercion complaints. But as you will imagine, some of them are simply complaints. They don't rise to a level of what would meet the definition of coercion. We have had some, I would say, enforcement actions, but only in the dozens. What we do need is, frankly, is to better advertise the fact that companies and individuals, drivers, can complain to us through our website, which is fmcsa.dot.gov. We look for this type of information, and we look for some cases that are ripe for investigation and enforcement action. But we haven't seen those as yet.
So what you're saying is you've had 550 complaints recently. The actual violations out of that were found to be in the dozens, maybe?
It's actually not 950. Huh? I'm sorry, it's 950
So out of 950, 20, 25 or so in the dozens. Sir. And how many of those were fined?
I don't know what the nature of the enforcement is. I don't have that information, but I'd be happy to provide it. It could be any number of.
So, because for those of us on the ground, I represent in that area, this seems so incredulous that there are not more bad actors actually found. You know, drivers in California prevailed in hundreds of complaints before the state's labor commission against port trucking companies. So we have hundreds of them in California and just a handful here at the federal level. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree, and I'm interested in this issue, particularly and essentially in this coercion rule, we're trying to protect the integrity of what we all are working for, to keep the drivers and everybody that shares the roadway safe from being forced to do things that are against the law or against regulation. So I couldn't agree more, and we're going to remain focused on this. We hope that drivers and companies will report this, and we will investigate, and we investigate every single one.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you. And with